Hi, it's Tara. Today I want to talk about 4 principles that are in a book I recommend to almost all of my clients. This book, if you can grasp these 4 principles and incorporate them into your life, they will remove so much of the drama from your communications and from your interactions with other people and really help support any of the work that you're doing on confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, and that whole area that we've talked about creating accurate perceptions, not having distorted perceptions of yourself or of other people. The name of the book is called The 4 Agreements. It's been around for a really long time. It's a no excuses read. You can read it over a weekend. The chapters are short, they're highly digestible. And the way that he writes them, the spirit behind the way that he writes them, for some reason really helps these sink in a different way than reading them somewhere else, because they're not concepts that are foreign. We know about them, but maybe we just haven't heard them in a way or read them in a way that we can implement them into our lives. So the book's called The 4 Agreements. I just want to go over each of the agreements to kind of talk about why I think they're important and why I recommend it so highly. The first one is to be impeccable with your word. And really that's about speaking with integrity, being thoughtful, considerate, relevant, and really direct about using your words, what it is that you are trying to say. Are you saying what you mean, and are you doing it in an articulate way that people are understanding and receiving in the accurate way? You can't control how they're going to receive it, but you can really be thoughtful about how you start to deliver the content that you share with people. Being careful to use your words for positive, because they can really be so hurtful. Words can be profoundly wounding to other people. We want to be careful that we're not using them for gossip or to hurt other people, but we're really using them to build people up and be supportive and encouraging, while also being truthful in a loving way. And there's ways to do that. I think that's really important. The second one is to not take anything personally. This was revolutionary for me. I grew up really, really shy, very sensitive. If somebody didn't like me, if they rejected me, if they were mean to me, it was very wounding, and I took it very personally, and I had so much trouble getting over it or through it. And so I found that my self-worth as it was developing was really challenged because it was so impacted by other people and how they treated me. Now what I know is that hurt people hurt people. What we know is that how other people treat us is not about us at all. It's all about them. This is them and their issues. They've been triggered by something that you said or did, or the way you looked, or the way you smelled, or any number of things that have nothing to do with you. And if they've treated you mistreated you, if they've treated you poorly, it's not about you. So really being able to grasp that there's a separation between how other people treat us and what we deserve. They're not congruent. They're very, very separate. So when you get that other people's opinions and actions have nothing to do with you, when you can take yourself out of your own ego and realize that, you save yourself so much suffering and woundedness. And that's really then you're able to move into other areas of your life. The third one that goes hand in hand with that, I think, is don't make assumptions. This is so big right now because most of our communications, or lots of them, are happening over electronics. There's only so many emojis that you can use, and so when you're joking or when you're being cynical or when you're being serious, the 80% of communication that comes from body language or nonverbal communication altogether is being lost in translation. And so when we're on the receiving end of that, what happens is we start making assumptions. Our brain starts to make assumptions to fill in the blanks based on our perceptions that come from our development, and really could be so vastly different from the meaning that that person intended it to be. So it does happen rampantly through electronic communications, but it also happens in just our interactions with other people. We'll leave conversations and feel a bit put off or feel offended or feel whatever it is, and we'll react to it or we'll disconnect from somebody. And what this principle is really about is finding the courage and being bold enough to ask questions and get clarity. So that means coming back to somebody and saying, we had that conversation the other day and it just felt weird, and what was that about? Or I felt this way about it, so what was that about? Can we talk about this, because this is how I interpreted it. we're missing the opportunity to really get clarity and truth in our conversations. And I don't know why we're so afraid to do this, but we are. Why are we so afraid to confront somebody in a real authentic way, to just say, hey, let's talk about this. This is what I need, or this is what I felt, and what was that about? Worst case scenario, someone's going to freak out and disconnect, and we know from the other one that that's their issue, not ours. We don't want those kind of people in our lives. Best case scenario is that we have a deepening of relationships. People get a chance to clear the air and create intimacy and depth in their connections, which we're all craving, whether we know it or not. And this is what we're missing in such a huge way in this society. So this is one of the biggest areas that will transform your interactions with other people. And I would encourage you to take this one, really as priority. It's so important that we're reacting to what the truth really is. The very last one is to always do your best, which means in any given moment, even though that's going to change depending on your state or what's going on in your life, do your best. Live with authenticity, be genuine, be honest. This is going to help you really come away from those areas of regret or shame or any kind of self-abuse, because you know that in any given situation that you always put your best forward, that you always put your best efforts forward. And when you do that, if things don't work out, you really have that to fall back on. So be impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. These 4 agreements can change your life. Go get the book, read it, print it out, put it on your fridge, on your bathroom mirror, teach it to your kids. This is how we need to be interacting with each other, and we're not, and we need to start. So be bold in this area. Until next time, I hope you're well.